Hey everyone, it's Heather Nichols and welcome to another Fun Make It Monday. Today we're going to do inked backgrounds. So we're going to need just white cardstock. We're going to turn it into something really colorful. You can use sponges to apply the ink, like these makeup sponges, or maybe you have some other kinds of stamping sponges. I like to use the Ranger ink blending tool, which is what you see there with the handle. It's got little foam things you can switch out on the ends so you can have foams for different colors. I'm using kind of blues and greens when I'm going to ink today, and so I'm just keeping it the same because the colors are so close. And really it's not going to do much of contaminating your ink pads. I would worry more if you're using like yellow. But we're not using yellow today. So you're going to just apply the ink in a circular motion, as you can see me doing right there. And it's not a light thing. You're going to get a little bit of an arm workout, circular, and applying that ink to that cardstock. And we're just going to apply color in different areas and just kind of blending them together and just creating kind of almost a tie-dyed blended background. So I'm using pine feather, I'm using ocean tides, I'm using Hawaiian shores, and I'm using simply chartreuse. So you can see right here I'm adding the simply chartreuse in. And I think I tend to kind of work, turn the paper as you go, work across in a diagonal, and then kind of fill in. Don't be afraid to go over other colors because it's not gonna wreck it. It's gonna create some different effects depending on the colors that you overlap. And I like to kind of end with a darker color too, so I'm ending with pine feather. Just play around with it and see what kinds of things that you can get. I guess, one of the things to start with is to try colors kind of in the same kind of color families, like the blues and greens are all cool colors, so they're all going to blend. Kind of earth tones. I love to do craft and just kind of create some different antique backgrounds using this technique. You can try mixing the cool colors with the bright colors too. Add a pop of orange or add a pop of red. So just play around with it and see. So as you can see, my white cardstock is really no longer white anymore. It's this beautiful mix of colors on the paper. So now we're going to do some different things with it. First, let me show you though. This technique is awesome to use with the Emboss Resist technique. So I'm going to stamp, this is the Background Basics postmarks, and I'm going to emboss this in clear. So I'm stamping that on the white cardstock with Versamark ink, and then we're going to emboss it in clear. This is so easy to do with this technique. I know it's throwing another thing in there, but it's definitely an easy option for trying this out and getting some beautiful effects. So this is just putting the clear embossing powder onto the Versamark stamped image, and the powder sticks to where you stamped your image with the Versamark ink because it's a sticky ink. I'm going to use my heat tool to melt that embossing powder, and don't overheat it. You don't want to melt it into your cardstock. So here it's all embossed, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to apply the ink with the ink blending tool, and I'm using a circular motion. And it's like magic because all of the image that you have embossed with the clear embossing powder, the embossing powder will resist the dye-based inks. So you get this beautiful kind of white image showing up as you ink the colors onto the cardstock. I think that's one of the things I just love about the Emboss Resist technique so much, is just kind of that magic of how it just appears. So I'm applying some Hawaiian shores, ocean. I'm mixing up my colors. So I did pine feather, then Hawaiian shores, and now I'm putting ocean tides on there. So this is kind of the mix of the blues, which the blues themselves are beautiful, but when I add the green, you'll just see it really pop. I just really love adding the green in with the blues. And I love, this is one thing I love about stamping, is how you can take this plain piece of paper and you can make it into this beautiful background, and you can customize it with any color and any image you want. I mean, this is truly the beauty of doing different stamping techniques and making this totally your own. So there's a look at the two, and I am going to stamp on the plain one too, but first I'm going to do one more thing, just kind of one more fun thing, is to spritz water onto your inked background. And the water is going to kind of react with the ink and make water droplet patterns. Just another cool texture. Super easy. We all have water in our house. You can flick it with your fingers to get some bigger droplet effects. You could maybe even use like a toothbrush or a paintbrush to flick the color or flick the water on there. Here it is all dry. And like I said, I'm going to stamp on the colored one now too with black ink. And I'm using the same stamp, the Background Basics Postmarks, to stamp over the top of this inked background. You could cut shapes from this. You could use a simple image. Silhouette images are beautiful on this background. There's a look at what the postmarks look like on there. And then for the cards, I went to the road trip and destination sets because it just really coordinates and goes beautifully with postmarks. And created a little sentiment tag kind of with a little collage stamping on there. Little piece of washi tape underneath that little sentiment flag. I took one strip of each of the background inked pieces that I did, and I put kind of the opposite strip kind of on the bottom of each card. And a little bit of a pine feather strip will kind of help. It goes together beautiful, but the patterns are so busy you need something to kind of break apart the patterns, and you'll see that here when I put the actual card together. And I'm just putting that piece on there with some dimensionals or pop dots, whatever you have. And there you have it. Now it's your turn to experiment with making some inked background cards, and you'll want to go to Nicole's blog for all the details on the contest and posting your projects to share. Thanks everybody, and have a great week.